agreed to be has agreed to be the co-chair of this group. So I'm delighted to invite her, and I think a fantastic addition. There's lots and lots of stuff with transition at Bradford Royal Infirmary, really, really dynamic and keen, and very, very much patient-centred as well, and wants to work between paediatrics and adults. But whatever we do in kidneys, we'll also spread elsewhere as well. So what we thought we'd do today, we won't keep it any longer than we have to, if that's all right. We will keep it short, as this is an extra meeting that we've had on board. Thank you for that, Ben, as well. Let me just have a look. So what I'm going to do is just share my screen, which means I've got to bring this one back down here. Can you see was everybody happy with it? Did everybody receive the minutes of the last meeting? Yep. Everybody happy with them? Did anybody want to make any comments? No? I don't know how to do this. Okay, look. So look, we'll consider the output. So let's have a look. So, Amy, what are we doing? What's first on the agenda?
Okay. Sorry, bear with me. So it's just the previous minutes in action. So going through the we can see your inbox.
Oh, can you? Oh, that's not what you want to see.
Anything else? Yeah.
Or do you mean you don't want to see all the busy stuff that I'm doing? Hang on a second. Let me close that down.
Obviously sharing anything.
Can you still see what am I sharing now? Let me stop sharing and share again. Hang on. Let me do a new share. I'll just share my screen because that's better. Here we go. And now am I just sharing my
No, that's right now.
Yeah,
we just get the minutes. Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that everybody was happy. We'll just work through the minutes quickly. Everybody's happy with all the outputs that the comments that we made. I forgot to invite the urology consultant team, but there was somebody from BAPU that was interested, and that's the British Association of Paediatric Urology, that will be interested in being part of the group. So they will be coming on board because a lot of our patients do have urology issues as well. So they're also going to come on board, including their nurse specialists as well. So they're going to be invited too. So that's a point for me to action. Okay, so I think we've all agreed that any specialist interest group outputs that we're going to be doing is going to be between paediatrics and adults. There's going to definitely be evidence-based for the interventions, and we will be taking account of the crash landers as well, and there will be data collection. So we're all agreed with all these outputs, all these considerations should be factored in.
Arvis, Richard, can I just say something? Are we happy to be using the term crash landers in the current day and age?
What would you like to say? Is there a better word?
Well, I think people are using the word unplanned start, and just some people don't like that term. I mean, so I don't know what others think, but I prefer the term unplanned starters. But
I think unplanned starters, or just say new to adult services.
I mean, definitely the point that new to adult services, definitely, but yeah.
Okay, so new to adult services with unplanned starters. Yep, definitely. Thank you very much for that. I'm just going with the terminology that's on that. So thank you very much, Richard. Okay, so now the action. So we have a new chair, Vicky Lai. Vicky, did you want to say anything? It'd be lovely for you to say a few words. I've dropped you in, and I know we haven't had a chance to talk beforehand, before this meeting, but we have spoken in the past.
You have put me on the spot. It's an area where not just myself, John, and Tyra Mia, who's on the call, who was part of our video that you saw last time, that we all wanted to strengthen transition here in Bradford and across our region. And it's something that we know from talking to our patients. They acutely do fear transitioning to adult services. So we're keen to help across the board. So more than happy.
Oh, very good. And just talking about across the board, John Stowe, so we've been having conversations behind the scenes so people realise it's not just we're just ticking off boxes this week. It's about making sure that there are outputs. So John, we spoke I think last week or the week before just about getting the clinical directors of each of the renal services on board, and we chatted about this. Did you want to update about that?
Hi, Arvin. Yes. Yes, we were. The task in hand is to reach out and see if we can map. I think that as we were discussing at the last meeting, to map out the pattern of adult service provision in across the UK renal centres, and to find a way to introduce the agenda to all of the adult teams in the country, and to have that awareness, first of all, about all the things that are part of this special interest group, and to encourage, through perhaps questionnaire survey type approach, some feedback, and then some engagement, and then some homogeneity across the UK, with embracing and engaging with the SIG. So I think we did talk about how that would be working for best. We have the links for all the adult centres in terms of the CDs for those centres, and it's a question of framing the first message to, I think, probably to be sufficiently broad to explain what the SIG is attempting to achieve, but also perhaps focused in that we do get feedback from not a lengthy piece of interrogation, but something a bit more to the point about whether centres have engaged with or developing facilities like educational videos, but also about how all of the principles of what we're embracing as the SIG are sort of being handled and processed and supported in all of the trusts across the country. I'm sure it's a very different model. Even within our region, there's differences. So I'm sure that across the country would learn from each other's areas of progress and share that in a kind of feedback loop. And I know, Arvind, you've set up a sort of feedback loop that would allow units to have their own ID, and therefore own their own data and their questionnaire responses and all the interactions that occur with the SIG.
Yes, no, that's fine. So that is something we're setting up digitally, and certainly thank you for giving me, thanks for the summary, John. I do. So I'm looking up there. I should look up here, but I can't do both, which is frustrating. And I don't know how to share one screen, so I've got to do it this way. So it looks like I'm looking up at you guys because, I bow because I'm mainly your minion. But thank you so John's given me a list of all the adult units in the UK, and that's across the 4 nations. So we're going to create special digital links for each centre. So if there's any outputs or any data that we're collecting, it will be related to them. And we're looking at how we can do that. So that is on the cards at the moment, and watch this space so we can get consistency of the data collection, but also then if we use the same, the same group, I think it will just be easier, having seen that actually there's lots of different ways of collecting data, and if you can access it immediately, it's just more satisfactory as well. And so so we are going to write to all the CDs. If there's anything in particular you think you would like to include, do let us know. We might not include everything in the first set of questionnaires that we send out, but we don't want to inundate them with too much information that they have to fill in. But one of the things that we'll probably also add in, if you guys all think this is a good idea, and give us a thumbs up if you do agree with this, is to say what good pieces of work are they doing, only in bullet point, nothing else, because at the moment I think there's lots of work being done across the UK. We're not aware of it, and people are reinventing the wheels. And I'll give a point of Ben Reynolds has been involved with something in Scotland that somebody else is trying to create in the north west of England, which we're also doing in the south. But because we weren't aware that resource was already there, it's a waste of time and effort in everybody. And remembering that we as the the workforce is the most expensive resource in the NHS, so it's having the best use of our time. So we'll talk about that in a second. So do people think it's a good idea to write to the clinical directors and actually ask them what good pieces of work are out there? And are you guys happy to email to say if there's anything in specific you want? I can see very few of you, actually. I don't know how to expand my screen. But Amy, are most people giving that a thumbs up? Can you give a thumbs up in your little, reaction things? I sound like an old woman. Somebody reminded me. Is that a thumbs up?
They're gradually appearing now, yeah.
Yep. So, and anybody giving it a thumbs down? Maybe I should say thumbs down and assume it's going to be a positive. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So that's very good. And John, and so that's one piece of work. And John, while you're on here, the other piece of work that is, I don't know if it's on the list. Yes, the videos. So John is going to be leading on, John and Vicky and a group not leading, but coordinating the efforts of, which is what we're going to put to the clinical directors as well, is to have a hello to our unit information video. And there's no one way that works, because you've got to reflect your, the personality of your team as well. So there's going to be what the minimum should be. We're getting feedback from young people with the youth groups that we've got to say, do they think this is a good idea? Holly will also say that to your adult groups to say, would this be helpful, and what would have helped them as well? And there'll be a template, not written in stone. These are the suggestions that we make. And there's about 4 or 5. And I know that, I think, Tina, I think you've also got a hello to your service video. So we'll ask for what's out there and then put a little template, give people examples, so then they can develop those themselves. If you haven't got funding, we can try and find funding for something more professional, but that might just end up taking a lot of time, or doing it on your smartphone as a start, with an idea that if you don't like it in the long term, we can then professionalize it in the future. Do people think that's a good idea? Oh my God. Okay, let me say, do people think that's not a good idea? Put a thumbs up. One, Richard, you can put it up as a thumbs up if you agree it's a good idea. But if everybody else thinks it's a bad idea, put it as a thumbs down, and we'll assume it's a good unless we get a thumbs down. How does that sound? Okay, he's got his thumbs up. Any thumbs down, Amy?
No, I don't think so.
And John, there'll be a paediatric member that comes in with you. The youth service, the youth workers are also going to be working with you, and they're already now. And I know that Kirsty Armstrong's interested. If there's anybody else that's interested, then contact John, and then we can move that forward as a work stream. Okay? Happy with that? And we'll have a template ready for next time. Is that what you're thinking, John?
That would be ideal. I think, yes, just to get it, just whatever's helpful to facilitate, the process, isn't it? So I think it would be good to have, you'd want, that would be nice for us. We did have the template of their examples to look at, but we also did have that internal assessment of what was needed, for our own centres, that sort of hybrid of what are the essential content elements maybe, plus of course all the things we'd like to add in to make our bespoke video content. So how much to, I think just get the feedback on that, and what makes a video hit the spot, which obviously is in the eyes of the beholder. There was the patients are going to be and I think this week you did have a group feedback, Arvind, from whether have the videos been reviewed?
Yeah, well, I've got on one of the videos, and they really liked it. And Tahira and Vicky, you are very, very friendly, and they love that. But there'll be, so I've got the latest one from Portsmouth, because they've adapted theirs. And if you've got any others out there, if you send it, then the young people can look at 3 or 4 of them, and they'll give some more feedback. So it's all collated. And John, I'll link you in again with Sarah Shemet, who couldn't make the last meeting. She can't make this one, but I'll link you in outside of the group for that. And there'll be, if anybody else is particularly interested in this, do let us know. Yeah. And one of the things, just so that it's on people's radar, is there's a sequin coming later. But what I will say, just so I'll probably bring it up again later, is that if we're going to do a sequin, this will be one of the things that we will put in as an output measure for the sequin. So actually getting everybody on board. So if we can actually get cracking with that, that will make that sequin easier to deliver. No guarantees that the sequin will be accepted, but let's just have a look. Yep, but just so people have that on the radar. And Amy, if you can put that in for the videos, so people have that saying, if the sequin is successful, this will be one of the things that will be one of the outputs that has to be achieved. Yep, perfect. Okay, so anything else from that? Were there any questions regarding the videos? I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Then we're doing the dialysis choices. Now, Alex is doing this with the young people, and I'll be involved with this group as well. So thank you. So Alex and I have been speaking about this, and we're very keen to move it forward. I know that parents, when we spoke last time, we said that we would invite parents that were already in paediatrics and some young people from paediatrics to also be part of this group, because they're keen to shape what adult services is like for themselves or their children in the next 5 to 10 years. So they want to be involved with this. So there's going to be a group that are doing the dialysis choices using the format that's already on the Ready, Steady, Go tier collaborative, which Alex was also involved in. I think Tina, you were as well, is is they're going to use that format because that's what was liked at the time, and that's the first iteration. It will change in time, but the plan is to move that forward. And love talking about sex and all that kind of stuff that you and Holly and things have been, not talking about your own sex, but the patients having the opportunity to talk that. Alex, did you want to say something about that?
I don't really have anything to add, to be honest. It was just to sort of say the background. We did a qualitative study with young people on peritoneal dialysis, and it brought out some really nice sort of quotes from young people about how to have a sex life and how to go to university and manage your PD deliveries, and how to do a PD exchange when you're a carpenter out on the site and things like that. We talked about potentially using some of those quotes with actors' voices, just to sort of bring them to life.
Yeah, but actors' voices of patients that want to talk about it can talk about it. So we will do that. I know there's lots, and Holly, I don't know whether you want to say something as part of Kidney Care UK group.
No, just that I think that sounds amazing, what you just mentioned, Alex. And also, I know those are topics that come up time and time again within young adult kidney group as well. So no, definitely on the right track.
And I've seen the young adult kidney, not the Kidney Care UK information. There's a lot of text there, some pictures, but the patient voices are important to get in there. And Yinson's, I think Yinson might be on the group. I don't know if he's managed to get on the group. Is sorting some patient support, patient information for UKKA, also the UK Kidney Group, and he also links in with the Royal College. Mm-hmm. So he'll be working with the group as well, and we'll see what we can do there. Probably the first place we'll probably just put the information on is on the website, the Ready Steady Go tier website, and then link to any resources out there. But that can all change in the future. That's all very fluid. Happy with that?
Yes, great.
Yeah,
thank you.
Good. So, and there's and I'll link the parents and groups in, but I think if you've got a bunch of enthusiastic people, it's just about moving forward with it and let's make a difference. And there's templates and things like that. So that's very good. The checklist for children and young people, I'm sorry, that's fallen off my list. But with the exams and the benefits and information with the schools and extra time. So, Ben is collating the letters that people have been writing from across the UK in paediatric services. Do you remember there's processing issues, the medication can slow things down, renal failure can slow things down. So just to make sure that our patients in children and in adult services aren't disadvantaged. So Ben's going to be taking this forward with some other people. The other thing that I was speaking to another group, just talking about silos of work, is that somebody was saying, they were going to create videos for schools. Do you remember from the patient, the virtual patient, sorry, this is a bit of background. So if I'm rambling, I apologize. But we're holding patient support group that's virtual, where patients say what they want, what would be helpful. And one of the things that came forward from that is that actually when their kids have got kidney failure, or if they've got mitrophanophs, or they need some drainage things, or gastrostomies, or anything like that, that the school are contacted and the school are made aware of what's happening, and that would be at the beginning of the school year. And we were going to record that so the nurses don't have to be doing it on an individual basis each time, because it can take hours, and then have a Q&A session at the end of it. But then obviously if it happens in the middle of the year, they can again share that resource and then meet up after. Now I know that certainly that was something we spoke about doing in the south of England. This is something that parents and patients are very keen to have. And then I was speaking to Ben, and Ben, you might want to say what you've already done in Scotland, and we can share that and see how we move forward with that.
Yeah, so it's just to mention that I'd already done some work with the Scottish government in collaboration. I think there was a whole group of people, so adult transplant surgeons and a few patients, prepared resources for both primary and secondary schools to talk about transplant and dialysis, partly done as an organ donation motivation thing, but those resources are available through the Scottish Government website. I've sent Arvind the link on so she can share that. It may well be that it's felt not to be suitable because the Scottish educational curriculum will be different to English curriculum and may not match the same competencies. But in terms of having an easy to understand explanation of what transplant and kidneys do, it certainly serves that purpose.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Ben. And I'll share that with the group. But there's and we'll also share it with the nurses in pediatrics and adults. It's not just for children. We might need to adapt something for the adult group as well, but there'll be a lot of learning. We can do a template for that. And then whatever we do there, hopefully we'll also then be able to share that with other specialties as well, because sharing is caring, guys. And it's one for all and all for one, regardless of specialties. So we'll look at that, and we'll also make sure, Amy, if you put this down as an action, that I make sure that the PNNG group and also the ANC, the adult nephrology nursing group, are also aware of this, so that they're part of this piece of work as well, to see what does and doesn't work. I've also been linking in, or I'm due to link in with one of the heads of schools of nursing, heads of children's nurses for schools, so that actually that's another way of spreading that information, and also linking in with people in education as well, so that we can actually make sure that their needs are being met. And Tina, I know that that's a piece of work that the Northwest Kidney Association, also kidney group, are also looking at, but it's to make sure that whatever we do can spread very easily and work, and we can move at speed to make a difference as well. But obviously there'll be dialects and things that people want to use locally as well, but it's keeping things short. Did you want to add anything to that, Tina?
No, it was just to mention that obviously this is in its infancy in the Northwest Kidney Network, but the idea is that we want to create education packages for the schools, just to give them a bit of a heads up and target specific key stages where there's quite a bit of transition anyway, so primary school to high school. So yeah, it's in its infancy, but as soon as we've got something that's a bit more meaty, we will obviously be sharing and making it available for other people as well.
And we're also going to include the urology team in this, Amy, if you put that as a point for the urology team, because the urology nurse specialists are also looking at this at a national level, and that will be something that they'll be taking forward, and they're very keen to be doing that. And that's certainly with the pediatric urology team as well, so they'll hopefully link in some of that stuff with the adult urology team too. Yep. Okay, so we've done templates for extra letters. I'm assuming, am I sharing? Have you guys all got the agenda up? I thought I was sharing the agenda, but it doesn't look like I am. Am I sharing? Oh, I am. Okay, that's fine. All right. So I'm still sharing that. There's a Let's Talk Bubbles. So do you remember we said that it's very much follows the format of the Ready, Steady, Go, but it's like, what would you like to talk about? And there's questions in there, and they're in speech bubbles, and it's called Ready, Steady, Go, Let's Talk Bubbles. The cystic fibrosis group did that at Southampton with the adult group, but they're looking at doing it with the young people and the patients and the parents, so we can actually use that, but it's generic. So then you can talk about, I want to talk about sex, I want to talk about, well, hopefully not dying, but just in case dying is on their minds, and I want to talk about my condition, benefits, or things like that, so the patients can say what they want to talk about. They can't talk about everything because that's quite challenging, but at least then we can also, if there's frequently asked questions, and we can develop resources for that, and then just have signposting to that, because that takes up time in clinic. But if that's important to the patients, we should be developing those resources or signposting to the right ones. So Kirsty's doing that with some of the youth workers, and I know some with the cystic fibrosis people, and also some of the patient groups in other specialties are also coming on board with this. And I know that the adult congenital heart diseases are also looking at this. So that's a piece of work. If anybody wants to be involved with that, I can show you what the template looks like. I'll try and find it and share that with you if that would be helpful. Would that be helpful? So you know what's happening and how it's moving forward. Alex, Alex, you're nodding your head. I'll take that as a yes. Okay, so we can share that, and I'll do that. Okay, that's fine. We've talked about the children and young people's video covering all. I think that's what we. Oh, that is the link to the video for the dialysis choices one. But that's what we'll be working on for most of the things that we create. If we're developing any resources, it's making sure that pediatrics and parents and young people and adults are in it. But remember, any piece of work we're doing, it will also be relevant to the elderly population and those for dementia. So we just need to think that, can we involve them in the group, or just sharing what we're doing with your more adult colleagues as well in the elderly population. The SDMQ9 path sequin. So working with NHS England to develop a sequin for this and writing a business case. Tina's very kindly sharing the transition sequin, but it'll be based along the 16+ pathway with some tweaks. So I can send you what the 16+ pathway looks like at the moment. So we need to do our bit from pediatrics, but we also want to make sure that the adult teams, because I know that we I work in one centre, but we transfer to a lot of centres to make sure that the adult groups also feel they're involved. So there'll be a couple of things. There won't be many. It will probably be something like, Tina, you and I can talk, but we'll make sure that people agree. One is the videos. Maybe it's a hello to adults or something that's very, very simple and easy to do and digitalized that can be collected. So then you guys don't have to say, yeah, you know, we're signposting. We can then just pull that data so it doesn't involve much work on our part to show evidence of that. Yep. Are people happy with that? If anybody thinks anything specific needs to be added in, please message and we can go from there. People happy with that?
Can I just ask, I know we all discussed this outside of that, sorry to speak over you. Can I just understand logistics? Because I understood that you can only apply for a sequin once a year. Is that about right? And it's about, so are you aiming for the November time, so it can be for 2024?
Yeah, so the national sequins, you can only apply every 3 years. And for the renal ones, for your specialty specific, you can apply on an annual basis.
Yeah.
So I've spoken to Smita, because she's clinical director for renal, and she's supportive of this sequin, and hopefully the CRGs will come on board as well. So we have to have a business case in probably, I think, June, July is when they're thinking about it. And if it gets approved, then it would start running next year. So it'll be very simple and straightforward. But again, there's no guarantees that we'll get it because the commissioners also have to buy into it. So, but if they can see some tools for it, and I'm presenting to some commissioners in May, June time about some neurosurgical things, but whatever we do for renal, I will say we'll also apply for neurosurgical. So hopefully they will buy into that. And if we link it in, when I say I, guys, you know, I mean we. So I do apologize. That's not we apologize. I apologize for saying we, for I, whatever, you know what I mean. But the idea will be that it will link into all the personalized care agenda for adults, the shared decision-making, NICE guidance that came out, and the children and babies and young people health experience. If they believe in it and they really want to deliver on it, then they should be looking at doing this as an example. So I'm hoping that will sell it. And we're already doing it at Southampton and they've accepted it. So for them now not to accept it for renal nationally, that wouldn't make sense, but we have to see. Yeah. But you guys are all supportive of, it's a very simple, easy sequence. It doesn't involve much time and effort. And the training involved, it will be very, very easy to do. You guys are happy for me to move forward with that, aren't you? People are supportive of that. No thumbs down. Amy, no thumbs down, I take it. Oh, Alex is giving the thumbs up, but no thumbs down. Perfect. Okay, so we'll move with that. And then we're looking at the home hemodialysis for young adults. Now, this is a piece of work. Now, I know that Natalie Borman just messaged me recently about a patient that had been really, really reluctant. Really, really positive story. So very keen to move forward with that. I will email Uday he's a lead for KQIP, and he works outside of Oxford. And I know that the Oxford group are very keen to get more people onto home hemodialysis. So we'll be working together to create a resource for the home hemodialysis. And Alex, that can link in as part of the work for your group as well. And we'll make sure that it all links in together. Very, very simple. Keep it straightforward. The frequently asked questions and the golden nuggets are what people will be interested in. And that's where all the sex and everything else comes in, but also the other stuff as well. Yeah. So that is a piece of work that will be moving forward. I'll just need to make sure I'm connecting the right people in pediatrics and adults. And Dean is also, Dean, I think you're on the call. Dean is also he's the KQIP lead for the pediatrics BAPN. So he's also looking at this piece of work and we'll be linking all these people in, and has already had discussions with he's from the north, remember, but he's had discussions with the south, with Costa and people like that. Dean, are you still on the call? Have you left?
I'm still here.
Yeah. So, but that's a piece of work that I know that you're involved with. And sorry, I just spoke on your behalf. Your picture didn't turn up, so I apologize for that. And really exciting, doing lots and lots of stuff there. Did you want to say anything about any of the other work that you're doing jointly as well, or work streams that are moving forward?
No, I'm good. I think this kind of covers the aspects of that. I mean, the KQIP and pediatrics, the whole portfolio of projects is about 7 or 8 work streams, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the RSG, a tier collaborative, forms one of those, as does the transitional work. So this all fits in with everything that's going on nationally and locally as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and the tier collaborative takes the politics out of where things are, so it helps things move forward. So if you've got projects that you're already working on, do let us know, and we'll see as the collaborative whether we can chase that and move it further forward. But also the collaborative is also working. So I'm calling it Ready, Steady, Go tier because whatever we're doing, I think relates to other specialties. So I'm always thinking about that as well, or we're always thinking about that. But the other thing is it also, the UKKA is for that as well. And also we're linking you with the charity organizations as well for that. Yep. And so we can then share what the group is doing nationally as well as internationally. I think we've spoken about the adult video, so that's fine. There were some useful links there, and that's where we are at the moment. Let me have a look, but there are some other stuff. Let me see. We've talked about the bubbles. We've talked about that. Oh, does anybody want to say anything about what we've just gone through there? No? Grace, did you? I can see you've got your dictaphone.
Irvin, I just wanted to check, since our last meeting, I've secured funding for us to do the Welcome to Adult unit videos, and we've gone through the trust and got, we have 2 ex-patients who are very keen to be on the video. So that's all gone through the trust, and that's consent and everything's been dealt with. So I just wondered how long you thought it would be with regard to what should be included in the video, because we're keen to sort of crack on and get it done, but I wasn't sure how long it might take.
Well, if you've already got things that you want to add in, why don't you just say, this is what we thought we'd do, link in with John and the youth workers and copy me, and so it's on my radar, if you don't mind. Myself and Vicky Lai and Tahira, I know that you're very heavily involved as well, so welcome. But if you do that, then we can just say, well, this is what's happening, and that's great. And there's always opportunities to tweak later if needed, and we'll see how that works, and that'll be another one to add to the list in the database. But bloody well done is what I will say. But that's the Irish for you, aren't it? Bloody like a bloody Irish every time. I bet you, oh no, I was going to say something, but I'm not going to. I'm going to make something very on PC about betting and all that kind of stuff, so I'm not saying that.
Arvin, I have Jenny with me as well. She's due to start Grid in September, well, soon, and she's very keen to be involved in this as well. So she's sitting in with me today, but just I guess as a potential going for a Grid trainee, I just thought it might be useful to have her involved as well.
Yeah, that would be brilliant, and to get the paediatric teams, because that's the other thing. I think it's great that we're doing it for this particular aspect of move to adult services. What parents say and young people say when they come to paediatric services, they would love a similar video just to introduce to the wider team as well. So that's something that we should be looking at. So what was your lovely Grid trainee called?
Jenny O'Gorman.
Oh, hi, Jenny. So that would be great. So perhaps maybe link in with this and to get the paediatric team in, and link in with Dean as well for the quality improvement stuff. Does that work for you as well, Dean? Yep. And I take it, John, that's fine. So I think that's really exciting, and we'll move that forward at pace, I think. So that is wonderful. And then just talking about Northern Ireland, and just see if this is a piece of work that we can also move forward with, is I'm talking at your shared decision, at your coming up transplant Northern Ireland meeting. What's it called again? I can't remember.
So I'm of course the actual title of it. Just I'll send it to you. I'll send you through the program and things for you.
But I think it's all the transplant surgeons that come from across the UK and possibly wider as well. They're very keen for collaborative work. So the work that we've done with the dialysis choices, when I was speaking to some of them, they're keen to. We were thinking whether if you guys agree. And I know that Costa, and I think Dean, you were also involved with this conversation as well, was that to do something for transplantation, for cadaveric, living related and conservative moving forward, very much along the template of the dialysis choices, because it's all well and good seeing it in text, and we'll signpost to the resources that are already out there on InfoKid and from the NHSBT. And I know that Jan Dudley's very keen on this as well, but to do something similar for the transplantation, to see if we can get more LRDs up, LRD uptake as well. If you guys are all in agreement, because now with consent, you have to be seen. One of our cardiac surgeons, I think the patient didn't do very well or passed away. There was a coroner's report, and one of the says, well, you didn't do shared decision making. He goes, of course I did. I've done this. He goes, no, not good enough. So they have to document it. So if we can get consistency in what we're documenting, and it becomes part of the consent process, and they show that they've done it, it will be more robust. It allows for auditing, and we can also work out what works well and what doesn't work well, because then we can use the SDM Q9+1, which says they felt involved in the decisions, a plan was made, and was the information useful? And was the information useful? And if they make comments about it, that will allow us to then actually develop the resources, and it will continue to improve. Are people supportive of that? I do need a thumbs up for this one, because if you're all supportive, then I will bring that up and say, within this group, this is what people wanted when I take it to the transplant teams next week, in a couple of weeks' time, and I'll bring that back to the group. Any thumbs down? Ben, Tina, Dean, you know. Amy, what's the response rate like for this one?
I only see thumbs up.
Only thumbs up. Okay, that's great. So we'll do that as well. Okay. And I think that was it. Was there any comments about that at all, guys? Oh, no. And then, Amy, were we going to talk about, we're still exploring funding. I think we're identifying pots of money so that we can have possibly 2 away days or a weekend away in a place. So it's not a jolly, well, it is a bit of a jolly, but it's not a jolly. It's actually to make sure that if we go somewhere like, if we go away for a weekend, we can then fine tune what we're doing and have resources that are there and good to go and use within the following week, within the following couple of weeks. Are people still supportive of that? I'll need thumbs up for that. Yep. I take it there's no, I think everyone's giving a thumbs up, Amy. Yeah. Okay. So that's something we're still exploring. We'll try and do it probably in about 4 to 6 months time, because I think there's lots of stuff already going on and it shows momentum. We can start, you know, it might be pockets of enthusiastic people, but then I think showing people how it's worked and how it's moving forward, I think we'll gather momentum. Yep. Happy with that? I think that's good. And I'll speak to the charities as well to see if they can support it, because we can only support so much through UKKA, but there'll be other ways that we can do it. And Amy's been thinking about pharma and other people as well. So we will move that forward. So was there any comments that anybody wanted to make? Was this a helpful update? Yep. Are people excited about this? I'm going to stop sharing now. Then I can see your faces on here. I can't bear it not being able to see faces. That's it. So are people excited about this? And we're getting all the units involved is what we want to do. And we're going to move forward. Now, I haven't had much from Holly and Fez. Did you guys, Fez, did you want to say anything? Because I know you're very keen and enthusiastic. You don't have to. If you, oh.
No, I didn't have anything to say. I was just listening and trying to get everything on board.
Brilliant, brilliant. Tanya, you've got your hand up. Oh, was it a historic? You're muted if you want to talk. Was that a historical hand? No, don't want to say anything. Okay. Oh, and just to let you know, the pharmacists are on board with this group, and we've also got the psychologists that are also coming on board with the group. Would it be helpful for us to have a database of the psychology teams in each of the units and say who the leads are in each? Would that be helpful? I've got Caroline Platt nodding. I've got lots of nods there. So people do think that's good. And Kat Kitchener is nodding as well. Yep. And Susan is as well. Okay. So everybody says, so what can you put that? Can you make that as an action point for us to link in with them? And I know there already conversations are happening. Yeah. And then Holly, did you want to say anything else as a patient and a parent? A patient, not parent.
No, nothing more from me. Thank you. It's just interesting to listen to from, as I say, Kidney KUK perspective. We're obviously keen to support however we can.
Brilliant, super. And there are parents involved and there are young people involved, but they just couldn't make this meeting. But they will always be feeding back, and it's a national group that they feed back to. So I think that's exciting. Amy, was there anything on any other business?
No, I haven't received anything. I was just going to say I've made a note of who's leading each of the work streams, so I'll circulate that after the meeting in a couple of days. So if you want to be more involved in those bits of work, then we can set up smaller working groups. Just let me know and I can group you all together.
Yeah. And Sharon Byrne, the answer is yes. It would be very helpful to have a list of sorry, Amy. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Maddie, for being very polite. Amy, that is super. And Sharon Byrne, did you want to speak up? You may as well mute and just say what you said, because yes.
Well, I'm just aware that, you know, at the moment there's trying to get up a working group of psychosocial practitioners that are national, and it may be, you know, that they link in as well. So I know that meeting's happening on the 9th of May, so that you've got your social workers and your counsellors and your psychologists as well. And
that would be great, because not every unit's got a social worker or a psychologist, so it would be really good to be able to share resources and see what's out there and develop some resources and move that forward. So really keen to do that. I know that the paediatric lot have been doing that, so that would be very good. And what I'll do is I'll link ours in with yours, and that'll be very good. And what I'll also do is I'll share this piece of work, because we're going to somewhere in we're going to Europe, and we're linking in with the European Working Psychosocial Group there, where they've got psychologists and therapists and stuff like that, and social workers, and say this is a piece of work that we're doing, and I'm sure they'll be very interested in that. And maybe the outputs from here can be shared with them next year, and we can celebrate all the fabulous stuff that we're all doing. Yep. So, guys, any comments from anyone? Well, there's only a few of us, so what we could do this. I don't know how, there's 25 on the chat. So Rachel, I'll go around everybody. Rachel, did you want to say anything?
No, but I'm really pleased to be part of the group, and I'm looking forward to getting involved in the work streams, especially the Welcome to the Adult Unit videos. I'm a young adult worker at Nottingham, so it's really exciting. Yeah.
And Rachel, are you part of the health-based youth work group as well?
Yes, I'm a member of that too. Yeah, which is an
excellent. Sarah Shametti's on that, so you're all linked in. I think you guys are brilliant. It really is good what you do.
There's lots going on. Yeah.
But it's an opportunity to share. Alex, did you want to say anything? No. Amy, Nikki, Ruddock.
I'm a dietitian working in Leicester, part of the young adult team here. So it's just, we're looking at our service locally, and it's just nice to hear all the things that are going on nationally and interacting with all the things that are being developed. So, yeah.
And Nikki, you might want to link in with the group, the dietetic group and the growth group that are in paediatrics.
Oh, right.
Dean's gone at the moment, so he's probably had to leave. But so that might be very helpful for you. And then there's joined up working between paediatrics and adults, if you're interested in that.
Could you tell me again what group that was, please, Arvind?
There is a PRING, P-R-I-N-G. Do you link in with them?
I think we do at sort of BDA sort of level, but yes, I might.
If you email me, and then I'll link you in.
Okay, thank you.
Dynamic. They're all dynamic, obviously. Holly, what about you? But they're collaborative. They're musketeers.
No, nothing else from me. Thank you.
Tanya? Aaron. Oh, Aaron. Do you want to anything? No? Sharon? Kay?
No, thank you, Arvind. Glad to join.
Do you know, it's a bloody dynamic bunch is all I can say. Grace?
Yeah, I think just to say the 6-week meeting was good for me, because it gave me a bit of an impetus to get going with funding applications and things like that. So it was great. And just to say also that Ashton Courtney, who's heads up all of the transplant here in Belfast, is aware of the work stream. She isn't able to join because of all her other commitments, but I'm feeding back to her so that she's involved, and we meet once a month anyway. So we're keeping on board that way.
So I'm assuming you'd like another meeting in 6 weeks. Yeah.
I think regular meetings made, yeah.
Okay. So will people just give up a thumbs up whether they think a 6-week meeting would be good? Roughly 6 weeks. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll do that. Caroline? Okay. Nothing to say? No. Kat Kitchener? Love that name.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm sort of just representing the renal team at the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital on their behalf. So I'm feeding back to Mark Andrews and VG Ward.
You're not just doing it, you are representing.
I am.
No
I am. As the transition nurse, I am. And I've just picked up the renal team. So, yeah, so I'll get feedback from them as well, and hopefully feedback next time.
Brilliant. And say hi to Mark for me. Bloody dynamic guy.
I will.
No?
No, nothing from my side.
Susan?
Hello, I'm an adult nephrologist based in Dublin at the moment, but I completed my training scheme in Northern Ireland. So I'm currently doing a fellowship in transition where I'm working with the paediatricians in Dublin. And then just to say, the name of the Northern Ireland Symposium is just Northern Ireland Renal Transplant Symposium. So I'm not sure if I can definitely come, but maybe look forward to meeting you in the flesh.
Oh, let's hope so. That'd be fabulous. Lots of exciting things to do. And I love my brother-in-law's a Southern Islander. Not very impressed with me, but that doesn't matter. Ben, I don't know why I even threw that in. Too much information about me. Sorry.
Probably too much about me before.
Oh, Vicky. Sorry, I'm really sorry. You might want to say so. I've only done this today because I know your camera's not working. So I do apologise.
No.
For doing it well. I do apologise.
No, it's fine. I'm just excited to work more closely with you and get our teeth into improving things nationally.
Yeah, which is brilliant. So when I am asking, it's on behalf of me and Vicky, and we'll be linking up afterwards to see what we can do. Maddie. Oh, Maddie's gone. Okay, John.
Nothing to add, Alvin. Thank you very much. Great.
Ben, did
you? Catch up.
Delighted. Ben, anything from you? No. SB. I have no idea who SB is.
Hi, it's Sue Haler from St. George's.
Oh, hi, Sue. Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you. And you?
So, I'm good, thank you. So I'm essentially the young adult worker here at St. George's. So I'm really excited to be part of this because we've already got an established young adult kind of like network within our hospital. But this is more on a bigger scale, national scale. So I'm really excited.
And I know that Joyce Poopler is very keen to be part of of this as well. And I think I can't remember if Andy's part of your group or whether that's that might be one of the other ones. And are you linked in with the National Youth-Based Health-Based Youth Work group?
Yes, somewhat. Occasionally for guidelines and aid and things. Yeah,
they're a really supportive group. So do link in. So that'd be brilliant. Fez, anything? No? Okay. Maria? Don't know who Maria is. No. Richard? Fish?
No, thank you.
No. Oh, Vicky. Vicky, did you want to have the last word?
No, you're all right. You can.
Oh, okay. Oh, Maria's popped up then. Maria.
Hi, I was having my lunch, so not great view, I'm afraid. I'm a kidney consultant pharmacist from Leicester. Just a couple of things. Thank you for having us. We have last month recorded a video introducing people to our unit, and it was led by two of our young adults. So very happy to share when it's ready. It's being edited at the moment, so
that would be fabulous.
Edited, yeah. So
that would be fabulous. And John Stoves, if you send it to myself and John Stoves, and we'll disseminate it to the right people. That is wonderful. I'm loving the positivity of this group. I think there's lots of energy. And I think we'll achieve a lot in a very short space of time. But we do want to make sure there's good outputs that benefit everybody in renal, in pediatrics, from cradle to old age as well. So we've got to share, I think, because we believe sharing is caring, but also across subspecialties as well, which I think would be wonderful. So guys, we will try and set up another meeting in probably about 6 weeks' time. And I take it this sort of time works for people because it's a lunchtime-ish. Okay, so we'll do that. And I want to thank you all for coming. And if you've got any ideas, do spread the word to your wider community. Oh, and Maria, just to say, our pediatric dietetics is also on board. So if you email, we can make sure we're linking in and working together on some of these things. And I just want to thank everybody for coming and giving up their time for this. Can't thank you enough. And we'll meet up in about 6 weeks. I think that might be at the UK Kidney Week, isn't it? Is that not UK Kidney Week?
Yeah, it will be.
Oh, so should we do the next one at the UK Kidney Week for those that can do it face to face, and we'll try and find a virtual option as well. Is that a good idea? Should we do it then? Yeah, and we'll confirm a date and a time for that, and then we'll put something in 6 weeks after that. I know it's the holidays, but we'll keep going with the momentum. Yeah, marvelous. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and see you later, and stay awesome, guys. One for all and all for one. Let's chant. Hugs. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.